Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 100 days away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the driving force of the actual Episode 9 film has all to do with the return of Palpatine and exactly how he's going to be utilized in Episode 9. And as you all know, this movie as of right now is going through a lot of different changes, a lot of adjustments to the first and third acts of Episode 9. A lot of things are happening with this movie. That is, of course, leaving a lot of people to believe what's going on with Episode 9. Is this a call for something bad or for something good? Now, on top of all of this, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the big plans by Disney, Lucasfilm, and JJ, this is where things begin to get very intense for this film. Now, specifically, it's explained that Disney, Lucasfilm, and J.J. Abrams are currently in the middle of reshoots, where it's explained that they are adjusting elements of the main, of course, first and third acts of the movie, where it's described that George Lucas is heavily involved with the reshoots and how the film should be adjusted. It's explained that George Lucas is directing an entire new scene that is said to be primarily for the character of Palpatine portrayed by Ian McDiarmid, and that there is said to be a sequence where Hayden Christensen will be involved as well. It's explained that the Palpatine scene was written by both George and JJ, however, it's said that J.J. Abrams gave George the opportunity to direct an additional scene for Palpatine that would lengthen the screen time and replace a specific scene that was shot for Palpatine that is actually described to be a vital moment for both characters of Rey and Kylo Ren. Now, it's explained that George Lucas also wrote his own lines to be used by Ian for the role of Palpatine in this particular new scene for the film that is said to be very similar to one of the scenes from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So, let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the thing about Episode 9 so far is that, yes, we do know that this movie is described as a very, very long movie. I know Kelly Marie Tran said that over at D23, and so did Oscar Isaac, describing that this movie is very, very long. Does that really mean it's going to be 3 hours? Maybe, maybe not. It could mean that it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, kind of similar to It Chapter 2. That was almost a nearly 3-hour film, or it could very well be like Endgame, where it was 3 hours and change. So, with that being said, when we look at Episode 9 and how they're going through all of these different reshoots and really adjusting the beginning and the end of Episode 9, whereas the second act of this movie really isn't being touched as much, but they are adjusting mainly the beginning and the ending of Episode 9. So, what's the deal? What's really going on here? Why are they doing this? Well, I don't think that this is really anything to be worried about. They're either just adding on additional scenes and replacing other sequences in order to, like I say, lengthen the screen time. And the other thing is that they want to really just adjust things to match the tone of the film evenly, where it's not going to feel inconsistent. So, when we think about Episode 9, this really is a big deal to Disney and Lucasfilm, and I think that these reshoots really show how much they care about this film. They really do want to get this movie right. You know, the fact that George is involved, and has been involved, but is now really involved with the reshoots and the last-minute changes here and there. A lot of fans are still very much hopeful about George and his involvement in this movie, and I, for one, will say that I'm still crossing my fingers that JJ and George will be able to knock this movie out of the park and really mark it down as a smashing success in the Skywalker saga. Now, when we actually look at this film, we also know that JJ aims to make it the darkest Star Wars film to date, even darker than that of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is a big deal because when you guys look at Episode 3, it's a dark film. I mean, that movie has a lot of things going on. You know, you got the Anakin Skywalker character turning to Darth Vader, him and the younglings, him getting burned on Mustafar and becoming Vader in the suit, Padme's death. I mean, that's just, a couple of examples. So, in order to really top a movie like that, it's going to take a lot of work, time, and effort, as well as a lot of great examples of our characters going through these obstacles that are going to surpass what Anakin went through in Episode 3. So, with that being said, George Lucas, like I say, it's almost surreal the fact that he's involved right now with Episode 9, especially with these new reshoots that will involve Ian McDiarmid, one of which is also said to involve Hayden Christensen, which could very well have something to do something to do with that Fan X Expo the other day that got canceled. A lot of fans were wondering about that. Why, last minute, either Disney or somebody associated with Disney canceled that event, and Ian McDiarmid and Hayden Christensen were nowhere to be found, and a lot of fans were quite upset that they did not appear. And with that being said, guys, I will say that this movie does have a lot going for it, and it really is said to be a very big movie with a lot of emotion and action, and I cannot wait to see what's in store by JJ, Disney, Lucasfilm, and George. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.